Welcome to the video lecture series of cryptographic network security. I am your instructor, Dr. Ramesh Prajapati, and today we are going to learn the MAC based on a block cipher. So let's start with today's agenda. The first MAC based on block cipher. The one type of MAC based on a block cipher is data authentication algorithm. It is also called the DAA. The next topic is a cipher-based message authentication code. It is also called the CMAC. So let's start the first topic, the MAC based on a block cipher. In the last session, we have seen the HMAC algorithm. In the HMAC algorithm, it is a possibility of attack. That means in HMAC we are applying the hash function along with the key on a plain text message. After applying the hash function, it's generating a hash code. So on the hash function, some probability of successful attack will be there. So the first attack, the attack is able to compute an output of the compression function even with an initialization vector that is random secret unknown to the attacker. It means that attacker is able to compute the output of the compression function. The initialization vector can be filled with the random number and the secret and unknown to the attacker. The second possible attacker find the collision in the hash function even when the initialization is random and the secret. The first probability of successful attack on the HMAC is the attacker is able to compute an output of the compression function. It means we already applied in the hash function. We already applied the hash function on a HMAC. So the attacker will be able to try to capture what is the value of hash function or what is the hash code. Right? Second, attacker find the collision in the hash function even when the initialization vector is a random and the secret. It means that attacker looking for two message M1 and M2. It find the same hash value. It means h of m equal to h of m1 equal to h of m. So these are the two possibility for attack on an HMAC. So we overcome this problem. We will use the next method, MAC based on a block cipher. MAC based on a block cipher. So in MAC based block cipher, one of the technique is the data authentication algorithm. It is also called the DAA, data authentication algorithm, and it is based on the DES, data encryption standard. Right? So first of all, in a DES algorithm, plain text message is divided into a fixed size block. First we apply in the DES algorithm we apply the number of round, right? And on that round we will perform some procedure, we will perform some action, and after completion of action it generate encrypted message. It generates the encrypted message. So in this technique, the data authentication algorithm, it is totally based on the DES algorithm, and the security weakness in the algorithm have been discovered and it is being replaced by a newer and stronger algorithm. So the HMAC we have seen lack of the security. We will use the MAC based on a cipher. So we can say that this is the stronger algorithm. Now in this algorithm we can use the cipher block chaining mode. Cipher block chaining mode of operation of a DES with an initialization vector of 0. It means in this algorithm we will use the cipher block chaining mode of operation of DES with the initialization vector, and the initialization vector it represents as 0. Now let's see first Your plain text message is divided into the fixed size block, and the block is P1, P2 up to so and Pn. We are applying the XOR on a plain text message, and the initialization vector is generating a some message, and on that message we applying the encryption along with the key on the message. It generate the first block of ciphertext. That means the C1. Every block we are applying the encryption, and after encryption it generating a one block. Now the output of the first block it considered as C1 will be considered as an input. It will be given input to the next plain text block. Now again it perform the XOR operation of a previous output of plain text block and the second ciphertext block. Now again we applying the encryption along with the key. After that it generating a second ciphertext block. Now repeat these things until the last block will be generated the ciphertext. Now so this is the process of cipher block chaining, and this technique will be used in a data authentication algorithm. Now again the same thing, the plain text message is divided into the continuous block, and each and every block, the size of each and every block is 64-bit block, and the block is represented in a D1, D2 up to so and Dn. Necessary the final block is filled on the right with zeros to form a full 64-bit block. It means that if your message is less than 64-bit, so in the final block we have to pad a bit, so the length of the plain text message must be a multiple of 64-bit block. So that's why here we are padding the bits. Now using the DES encryption algorithm E and secret key K, using the DES algorithm E and the secret key K, a data authentication, the data authentication code is calculated. Right? So let's see. In the figure, you will see the first of all, the plain text is divided into a fixed size block, and the block is divided into the block is D1, D2 up to so and Dn. And the size of the all block is 64-bit. It means that the first block is 64-bit, second block is also the 64-bit size. Now this is the time equal to 1, time equal to 2, and it means that we are incrementing our time, and each and every increment, the block of plain text is converted into the ciphertext. So now the first time one, we are considering the first block D1, applying the DES encryption along with the key. And as you know that in the DES algorithm we use the key, and the size of the key is of 56 bits. We are applying the encryption along with the key on a plain text message. It generates the next block, and the size of the next block is also the 64-bit, and that represent as a O1. Same process will be carried out in the next increment, time equal to 2. The D2 will be processed. That means that here the output of the first block, it represents as a O1 will be output of the first block will be given input to the second block, and the second block is D2. Again we are performing the XOR operation, and after performing the XOR operation we apply the DES encryption along with the key. Now it's generating a second block of ciphertext and represent as a O2. Now repeat these things until the last block of plain text will be generated the ciphertext. It means that it represents the O N. Now I hope you clear this, right? The next is the data authentication algorithm. What is the formula? So the first, if I want to find the O1, so O1 equal to apply the encryption on a D. D is means the block and K is key. Now same thing on the next O2 block, O2 plain text block. Again we apply the encryption. So here we are we are perform an XOR on the output of the previous block O1 and input to the second block of plain text, and it represents the D2. Now again we apply the encryption, DS encryption along with the key. Then the second block will be generated and it represents the O2. Now repeat these things until the last block will be generated ciphertext. So here the last block is ON equal to E is a bracket K comma D of DN XOR ON minus 1. This is the formula to input the plain text block, apply the DS encryption along with the key. After applying the decryption, it is generating a ciphertext block. The DAC consists of either the entire block on or the leftmost bit M bit of the block with the 16 less than equal to M less than equal to 64. It means that the message is less than equal to 64 bit. So if the message is less than the 64 bit, so we have to pair the bits on the final block. Now the next method is a cipher based message authentication code, and it is also called the CMAC. So in the previous technique there is a two drawback. So the drawback is the MAC. We already use the MAC because it is the message authentication code, and the cipher based message authentication code. So here then the previous method there is a one drawback. The MAC is secure under the reasonable set of security criteria. MAC is secure, but there is some restriction. So the first restriction, only the message of one fixed length of MN bits are processed. That means that here the N is the cipher block size and the M is the fixed positive integer. So we overcome this limitation. We will use 3 key. In the previous method, we use 1 key, right? And here we will use 3 key. So how to use this 3 key and how to represent this 3 key? Right? So the first 1 key of the length K to be used at each step of the cipher block chain, and the 2 key of the length N, where K is the key length and N is the cipher block length. Again I repeat, the 1 key of the length K to be used at each step of the cipher block chaining, and the 2 key of length N, where K is the key length, K is the key length and N is the cipher block length. Right? So here in this algorithm we will use 3 key. So the first cipher based message authentication code, mode of operation for use AES and the triple DES. As you know that AES encryption, advanced encryption standard, and the next is a triple DES, and we have seen that. The first, let us define the operation of CMAC. When the message is an integer multiple of N of the cipher block length B. Now in AES, as you know, in AES we are considering a block size is a 128 bit. For triple DES the block size is a 64 bit. The message is divided into the N number of block. The message divided into the N number of block, and each block is represented as M1, M2 up to Mn. Right? So first, if we are going to see the diagram, first of all we have to apply the two things on the CMAC algorithm. The first algorithm makes use of k bit encryption key. K bit, small k bit encryption key, capital K. That means the k bit encryption key K and a b bit a constant attributed as the K1. It means that here we are using two things. First, k bit encryption key K and the b bit constant K1. Now for AES, the key size is a 128, 192 or 256 bit. And a triple DES, the size of the key is a 112 or a 168 bit. So let's see the diagram. The diagram of a CMAC. In this figure you can see the plain text message is divided into the fixed size block, and the block is represented as a M1, M2 up to so an Mn. Now here the B is represent the B bit constant. It means B represent the constant, and the K, small k, it represent the encryption key. And so here on the applying the encryption along with the encryption key and the constant B bit on the plain text message. Right? After applying the encryption, it generates the encrypted message, and this message will be given input to the second block of M2. Now M2. Now again we apply the XOR operation of previous encrypted message, and the M2 it generating a message. And on that message we apply the encryption along with the key. Output of the M2 block will be given input to the next block. Again we are applying the XOR operation along with the K1 constant on a plain text message and encrypted message. Now again we apply the encryption along with the key. Now it's generating a MSB inside the bracket TLEN length. It means that MSB most significant bit. It means we are considering the left most significant bit, and the TLEN, it means the B length of T, B bit length of T. Now it represents as a T. It means that output of the MSB bit. It means we selecting the MSB bit and it gives to the T. Now this is called the message length is integer multiple of block size. It means that the message length is integer multiple of block size. The block size is a multiple 64 bit. If the size is a message size is a 64 bit, and the output is also the 64 bit. So we cannot append, we cannot pay the any extra bit. Now in the next technique of CMAC is we are considering the number of block M1, M2 up to so on Mn, and the last is 1000. It means that the size of the message is not the multiple of 64 bit. So the final block is padded to the right with 1 and as many 0 as necessary. So the final output block will be 64 bit. That's why we padded the bit. Now again we are applying the same process, right? So here on a apply the encryption along with the key on a plain text message M1. After encrypted message, the encrypted message will be given into the second block and XOR with the M2. Again we are applying the encryption along with the key. Now it's generating a message, and it's generating a encrypted message. The encrypted message is will be given input to the next block, and the final block. On the final block, we applying the different key. Different AND bit key K2 is used instead of K1. In the previous picture, we used the K1 key. The message is not a multiple of 64 bits, so here we will use the K2 key. Again, decrypt the message. Again, apply the encryption along with the key Now it's generating a MSB bracket T LAN. That means the T LAN, the B bit of LAN of T, and we are selecting the most significant bit, and this bit will be allocated in a T. So this is the message length is not an integer multiple of block size. So we have to pair the extra bit. Right? And the next is the formula for encryption is C1 equal to apply the encryption on a M1 block along with the key it generating a C1 block. Same thing, next block C2 equal to apply the encryption on a previous block of ciphertext C1 XOR with the current plaintext block M2. Now repeat this process until the last block will be converted into the ciphertext block. So here we represent some formula T equal to MSB LAN C of Cn. It means that the T represents master authentication code and also referred to as a tag. And in previous we have seen the T represents the master authentication code, also represented to as a tag. The next is the T length, the bit length of T. T length represents the bit length of T, and the MSB S of X equal to the S leftmost bit of the bit string X. Right, so this is all about the CMAC. Now, how to generate the key? You can see here we in the previous two picture we have seen two key K1 and K2. So here the two n-bit key are derived from the k-bit encryption key as follows. It means that if I want to find the key, apply the encryption on a block cipher. It's generated the block, first cipher block, it represents 0 and the key. Now we will get the L. Now we will generate the key K1. So K1 key derived from the ciphertext, along ciphertext and key constant. Now same for K2, right? And here X and X square it represent the polynomial equation, right? So here the multiplication is done in the finite field, and you know that the GF Galois field 2 raised to n, right? So I hope you clear this idea, right? Now here L equal to E bracket K of 0n. Why is 0? Because the block cipher is generated the block, and this block is represented 0. Now we will generate the key K1. So K1 is derived from the ciphertext along with the key constant. Now it produces the K1 key. Same process for the K2 key. Okay, I hope you clear this idea. Thank you.